What's going on, everybody? This is James Grandmaster Facts Voice, and you're here for another episode of the Facts Project. Today, special guest, repeat guests, always lovely to have them. Frederick Littles, here from Acre Comics. We're here to talk about Magnus Jakuta and Veve. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm very happy to be here and everything. I said it's repeat time, right?
Yeah.
On the show this year.
It's our third time. You know,
So,
the second time I got you stateside. This is good.
yeah. So, but I told you the last time, right? Our goal was to launch a campaign every single month this year with a new title.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, look, we talked about it in detail because if you're for one, if you're not paying attention to what Frederick is doing on Global Comics and the fact that you have the ability to do sort of advanced releases of your comics
Yep.
before you actually get a chance to publish them, almost as sneak peeks.
Yeah. So we have built a beautiful relationship with Global Comics and that team. Jackson, have done a great job just, communication wise and setting everything up with us, meetings and stuff, and doing, promos, just marketing wise across the board, right? I love Global Comics. But one of the things we utilize though is a preview mechanism to
Yeah.
where I will give you the entirety of the book. I kind of take you behind the scenes of the production process, right? So oftentimes, if I'm lettering a book and everything, it's not in its final state. It's just in a preview state. I'm just giving you a gist of the artwork in its early stage. It can be inks, it can be colors, it can be somewhat of a story.
Yeah.
Just give you just a little taste of a little bit of a couple of hints here and there. And then by the time we get ready to launch the campaign, the book is done. It's fully produced. This means from the artist, the colorist,
Yeah.
the letterer, all of this professionally done, and that book is packaged and ready to be shipped out once the rewards and everything are complete and the campaign is finished. And so that's kind of been a mindset because normally times I tell the team, I said, look, before we submit a campaign, the book has to be at least 75% complete.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, when the campaign is over,
Yeah.
that book is not going to go to either Comic Well Springs or other printers to get a proof and everything. And once the proof is approved, we're going to print and disperse those rewards. And so that has been our goals that we set and everything that have been working thus far. So
Mm-hmm.
knock on some wood. Our next campaign, our last campaign, Neon Ghost, we just got the approval and everything for the proof. Nigel's working on the last package
Mm-hmm.
for the Wounded series, and then we're going to print, and that book should be ready to go here in a couple of weeks. They can start getting print for production print wise, and then hopefully I can get those books back within 14 days, 20 some days or so, and I'm shipping them off, and that campaign will be complete. And so I use that platform because Global Comics had come a long way.
Oh yeah.
They
I remember their humble beginnings.
they've been open and allow diverse voices to really showcase on their platform.
Mm-hmm.
And I see the growth and I see potential everything, and they can continue to grow into the future.
Excellent. Now, also, we could talk about the series of things basically that we got through this year because we talked about Blood Wars at the beginning of the year. We talked about I talked Neon Ghost, of course, with our good friend Nigel Lynch, last month. And now we are talking about kind of like your staple. This is your flagship,
Yes.
the Magnus series. But the thing is, from what I remember issue 1. I have issues 1 through 4 right here on one of my shelves. But what I remember from the storyline, the title was just Magnus. Now it's Magnus Jakuta.
Yes. So it has always been in the cards to change the name of the book in the series at a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
And at first was going to do it after issue number 6.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, life happens, right? Some things come up and everything, and the opportunity came up to where I couldn't turn it down.
Okay.
And it allows the book to be distributed through comic book stores, right?
Okay.
I won't go into it too much. I won't get in trouble for it. But we do have two distribution deals that have been, the contracts have been signed, sealed, and delivered. And I can tell you, I just looked at the calendar and everything, uh, August, September timeframe, you should be able to walk into your comic book store and get the first copy, first issue of the newest release of Magnus Jakuta in your local comic book stores
With the brand new title and everything.
with the brand new title and everything.
Okay. So now where did this name derive from?
So it's a part of the story plot.
Yep.
That's why I say it's central to the story.
Hmm.
And this ties into the Orisha. Now, without spoiling anything, uh the Orishas will come up heavily within issues number 7 and their own, right?
Okay.
And you get a gist of, like I say, when I initially created Magnus, I created two parallel stories to be told all in a single line. So you
Hmm.
got Magnus' story, and you also got the Orisha story as well. So now we get to the point to where you get into the plot now.
Yeah.
And Oleron, the supreme god, is not, I put it like that. He's not happy, especially with Magnus, right?
Hmm.
And so there is some symbology. If you read issues 1 through 4,
Okay.
I planted some seeds and some Easter eggs, giving you some simple things to take a look and consider to understand the basis of his last name.
Okay.
I'm going to leave it at that.
Okay.
Uh,
Now I got to go
if,
back into it.
if I'll give you, pay close attention to King Magnus
Okay.
and his actually get up and everything in super suit. There are certain things, emblems wise and stuff, whatnot, that's on him personally. And then also, when Magnus arrived to his house for the first time, there are certain things that you see even on the outside of the household and everything before you enter into his kingdom and domain wise.
Mhm.
I lay Easter eggs down for a reason.
Ah, okay.
And that kind of plants the seed. So if uh, I give you one Easter egg. Pay close attention to the flag.
Okay. Yes.
That's all.
Okay. Got it. That's all I needed to know. But now when we're talking about issue 5, now there's a long storied I'm going to say how this story is pretty much built up. When we got to know Magnus from issue 1, totally naive to his new power set. Um didn't understand the title that he was given. And everything pretty much had to be found out. By issue 4, he is clicking. So
Yes.
much to the point now where we're getting into issue 5, and his sister, Michaela, is now standing with him. Now, what made you, of course, turn this from just being a stalwart standalone comic with just Magnus himself to now incorporating his family?
Yeah, the entire series and everything is based on family,
Hmm.
uh, and the dynamic of family. And a lot of times we get superheroes, you only get the main central purpose person of a story, and you don't really see the entire of the family that's involved. And so with Magnus, I want to take it to where, yes, he's predominantly the main character,
Yeah.
but there's a cast that's involved too,
Yeah.
right? It's the entire family. Even his mom
Hmm.
will play a very intricate role going forward into the series as well, right? And so, one of the things that I did when I talked to Devin about this process was showing a family divide between, because Magnus, he didn't know his father. And there's some reasons behind it and everything. We get a little bit more in depth into it, especially issue number 5 and also issue number 6.
Ah, okay.
He really know his father and everything, right? And so he didn't know his sister either. But there was a reason behind it, where you're talking about personal sacrifice from a father and mother for the kids, for
Mm.
their well-being. That's
Yep.
involved in everything there. And so you show that, but you also show the emotional toll. So if you look at issues number, especially number, two, three, when he got injured and everything. He was in the hospital and stuff like that. And he's talking to his mom, and she was very emotional, right?
Hmm.
And same thing, you know, when she was out of the hospital, he was back at home and everything too, trying to figure out what's going on. She was very emotional. The weight she carried her entire life, you know, raising him really in a single household.
Yeah.
Now, there are some things and stuff I did plant in the story to where you would see, hey, look, there are times and stuff, you know, she did, her and King Arachnus and stuff like that, did meet up. That's how it kind of came about, right?
Yep.
So, the essence of this story was to tell uh, a family of heroes in their own way. And so through, you know, turmoil, resiliency, you know, just being blessed by the Orishas and be able to take that mantle of who they are and who they will become in the future.
Right.
Because there some things such is going to happen. I know a lot of people hated me when we, you know, we killed, you know, one of the main characters of the story, General Stamos.
Hmm.
But General Stamos, I'm not going to spoil it, but
Hmm.
trust me, he's you will see him again.
Okay. Because I was about to say, at that point, and I believe that was what, issue 3 that
Issue
happened?
issue one, issue one. Because we did issue one was roughly 30, 36, 38 pages.
38
With,
pages.
so it was roughly like two issues in one, right? And so we added the Risha portion on because we feel like, you know, that portion was really important to tell in issue one to show that yes, General Stamos has died and
Hmm.
he's now in the hands of the Risha. And so as we go forth, again, I'm not going to spoil it,
It.
but there's the path of the Risha that you must walk and everything
Hmm.
in their presence and stuff. And that's what he's doing right now.
Mm. So it's funny because when that happened, you almost came to the conclusion that within your books, and you could say you agree or disagree, nobody's safe.
No one is safe.
No
No
one's
one
safe.
is.
So anybody can go at any time.
That's that's the hardest part, right? Of writing these characters and everything because I've become emotionally tied to them.
Hmm.
And I told Devin, I say, man, you know, uh, one of the things that we have to do early on is a gut punch because we have to feel it ourselves as writers and everything to get this out the way and
Hmm.
be okay when the character and everything dies. Because initially, if I went through and showed you the uncut version of the first issue of Magnus, Stamos lives. I couldn't kill him.
Oh, you
I had
couldn't
a
kill
hard time. I had a hard time wrapping my head on killing the character in the first issue, right? And so, you know, at this point, I was like, you know what? We have to be able to pull the heartstrings a little bit here. That's part of the storytelling.
right.
It's okay to kill a character. I
Hmm.
said, you know, I'm a fan of Star Wars. We lost Darth Vader. I understand.
Hmm.
Okay. Stamos is my Darth Vader.
Right.
He had a very intricate part in the story where I look at it from a sacrificial lamb in a way, right?
Yeah.
He's that person. But I understand some too in the comic book, you know, it's kind of different from what I wrote for the original script for the animated adaptation series and everything for television and animation, right?
Yep.
Uh, Stamos is chosen by a certain Orisha, and he's on a mission. His ultimate mission, everything was to protect Magnus at all cost, and that's including his life. And he paid the ultimate sacrifice for it.
Right.
Now, the thing about this is, if you delve into European mythology, and especially into the realms of the Orisha and everything, if you're given a task and you see it through, you are bestowed certain blessings upon you for what you did.
Mm.
And that's what we're going to see going forward, especially with Stamos.
Now I totally understand. Now I get it. All right. So when it comes to lineage, and this of course has always played like a big part in the series. We talked about like of course the the rites of passage that Magnus had to go through, and beings how they're closely aligned with the path of Orishas because they are descendants of them. Is there any others? Magnus, of course, has been a central character this far throughout all these four issues, but it can't just be him.
Oh, it's not.
I didn't think so.
It's not. Somebody, well, so I often tell, usually through every issue, I kind of paint the picture, right? I say war is coming.
Yeah.
There is another. And this person, again, just like Magnus and everything, right, is the heir of Planet Nulian in a
Mhm.
way, in its own essence and stuff because of his father, who he is. And so remember, I told you, these are three brothers. You have General Stamos, you have King Ragnas, you have Anik. Anik will play a central role in this story, and especially in issue number 6. I won't spoil that one, but man, that issue is insane. But we give you glimpses and everything of a multitude of potential antagonists that the family, including Magnus,
Mhm.
will meet going forward in the other issues in
Mhm.
future. So just know, uh, this person that's coming, he is something. He's one of my favorites.
I figured that was coming. Now, there was the way that this of course was put together. There's a lot of action in this. There is also the aspect of mythology. And
Yes.
then literally almost like in issues 3 and 4, we start to see a more cosmic level of this. To
Yes.
where we start to approach the extra atmospheres. We go to other planets.
Yeah.
Like, how far is the outreach here? It's kind of like, okay, we're thinking that Magnus, of course, is the descendant of gods and just pretty much on Earth, but yet the far reach spiritually of the Orishas has basically it's grown to every planet in the universe.
Yeah. So there is different domains, different dimensions, different planes and stuff like that, universal planes and everything like that, cosmic wise. And so this is kind of like, my multiverse and everything away.
Yeah.
Uh one of the things and stuff before I brought Lewis on what we were working on before him was a prequel to
Okay.
Magnus, which will tell the story of the miscreants. So you got young King Magnus, when he took the title thing of the Mantle of King, and then his brothers, a younger version of Stamos and a younger version of, Anik. And you also got the younger version of Blas, when he was just a student underneath, General Stamos. And Jinx and Atex are pretty much just in her teens in a way, in the
Mm.
human terms and stuff, right? So you will learn a little bit more about a different cast of characters. We introduced two new characters and stuff within that story, but we tell you about one of I don't want to spoil it too much,
Okay.
but there was a ancient insectoid like creature like race
Mm.
that was hell bent on consuming not only planets and everything, their resources and whatnot. And Oleron and the Orisha was fed up and they intervened in a way. And so that's how Ogun and Allegua came to create the planet Nulian as a defense barrier and everything against this race, right?
Right.
And so now we're telling, more of a Star Trek like lane and everything in a way, another creature that's involved in everything to where there is another plot in the story that causes a war, friction, everything. And now the Orisha has to step in to protect the realms. And so
Mm.
tell that was coming, it's a little bit ways off. But it's still in development and everything. But right now we're kind of focusing on just the current story right now.
Mm.
There's
Now,
a lot to come.
Now you also, well, in this particular fifth issue, you have Magnus and his sister Mikhaila that are going through these grueling trials. Is this
Yes.
based on anything in Yoruba mythology, almost like a trial of Hercules
Yes.
type deal?
These are the champions of Orisha, right?
Hmm.
So they have sent out their champions and they're now, you know, Magnus and Mikhaila has to either defeat them at all costs, or they won't bestow their blessings and stuff, right? These are part
Mhm.
of the trial. They have to go through this league of cast of characters and everything that has been, sent out by the Risha to, go to war with Magnus and Mikhail. And Magnus is pretty much planting them into this dimension and say, hey, look, own up, do
Mm.
your part. If not, you won't receive no powers. You
Wow.
won't get your blessings and everything, right? And so now they're faced with this adversity and everything. They actually have to work together as a team. And this also, you have this brother and sister rivalry that is happening too.
Hmm.
There's sibling love there. And so you would see that also in this issue as well. So you get a lot of Mikhaila personality that's going to, they're going, butting heads and everything in a way. They're trying to one up each other to really impress their father,
Okay.
is what they're trying to do, right? But there is again, they were actually, I won't spoil it. The Rishas will be involved in this series, this issue as well.
Mm.
And they will face them uh, eventually. So you get a little bit of taste of everything, right?
Right.
This issue is really more of a setup issue, everything in a way. We wanted to fast track a couple of things because we want to make sure we were ready to go for issue number 6 because that's the cosmic battle.
Hmm.
Cosmic battles, everything we set up and everything for that issue. That issue will really set up the next couple of issues, the next 6 issues going forward, to where we're going to see a lot more of the Orishas that's going to be really involved and introduce a lot more. Where we're going to probably introduce the entirety of the realm of the Orisha and everything that from Otala to Shango to Oa to Ocean, uh, Ogun, Allegua. You're gonna see all of them, and you're gonna definitely see Oleron. And he is not happy.
Wow. So we didn't take the task because this is a package deal now.
Yes,
This entire Kickstarter. We go from the intricate cosmic mythology of the Yoruba mythology that you have in Magnus. And then we move to the religious aspect of voodoo in the French Quarter with
yes,
Veve. Now,
yep.
first off, why was this a combination package? Why did you want to introduce Veve with Magnus Jakuta?
So with Magnus and Veve, uh, I wanted to do something a little bit different for a Kickstarter, especially since for me, it's been a while since I launched my own Kickstarter outside of the House of Wise. I want to do something special for not only the fans, but also new backers, new readers, everything that really thrive on getting into this world of indie comics. And so, what better way to release 2 books versus 1 book? And that way, once you get done with 1 book, you're like, man, hold up, take a breather and everything. That was insane. All right, got another book to pick up
Right.
here. And you read that, and you're like, okay, we need more of this. And you would get more of both of those books and everything because my goal going forward, everything, especially because we got so many projects, I can release 2 of my projects in one campaign
Hmm.
because so much thing already. I'm not just wait to keep them on the shelf and just wait. No, the readers need to read these books. And so I feel like, it was a good balance because not only, I'm celebrating, family, but also this is really my first woman character that's a lead in a story.
Hmm.
I think it's very important to have female voices, everything within this space. And with Lisa, I think she's a really, really important character for, within the House of Wise and Wise Comics and everything staple, because she's really the essence of my daughters, both
Mm.
of them and everything, right? Which is why I hold this story really near and dear to my heart. And so with her, we're gonna delve into, yes, it's a touchy religious like story with voodooism and everything.
Right.
And so it took a while before this book to be packaged, everything ready to go. Because me and my artist was doing a lot of research within the realm of voodoo. Because there's just certain things and stuff we didn't understand. And so, he had some friends that was, from Haiti. They gave us some really, really good information, everything on this world that we really packed into this story from different, I won't spoil it, different trinkets,
Mhm.
different things and stuff, a little bit Easter eggs here and there. Uh, we jam packed
Mm.
this book, 32 pages, yes, but trust me, it will read like a 60-page book. It is a lot of content.
Now, I always find it I guess enamoring that sometimes the setting plays a big part in the story.
Yes.
New Orleans plays a big part in this.
New Orleans, I'm a huge New Orleans Saints fan, who that nation. And I
I
have
mean,
family,
I can see that in the back.
I know, I have a family that's actually rooted also in New Orleans as well. And so, uh, I love it. I just love that environment. There's just so much story to tell about that region,
Mhm.
people and everything as well. So, even when you're reading the story and everything, right, it's layered with their lingo, their language.
Mm.
So, it's not your traditional just plain English. There is, some language and everything in there. You're like, man, hold on, what is this?
It was Creole.
Because that's the way they speak.
Hmm.
And so, especially one of the main characters in there with Papa Legba, that's the way he speak Creole. And so that's what you're gonna get. I didn't keep this is as authentic of a story that we have brought together.
Right. Now, also, even outside of this, you have this as a crossover.
Yes. Yes. We have Punch Publishing. I got with Pat, and Pat was like, "Hey, I want to give you issue number one of Punch Publishing, Pop Scars."
Hmm.
And I was like,
I remember.
"Bet, let's do it." And so, hey, folks, you read this issue right here. This book, this is the graphic novel right here. Uh,
Now,
hey,
now, how many issues is in that volume? What, four, five,
there's six issues,
six
six
issues?
issues in this volume, and it's actually stretch gold too. So if we hit a certain stretch gold, everybody will receive a copy of this volume and everything right here as well.
Mm.
So Pat Pat has started in there, and that's physical. That's a physical book. But right now you get with every single tier, you receive digitally wise the first issue of Pop Scars.
Oh,
So and it kind of like up the ante a little bit and everything as well because we added a multitude of shining the spotlight on other indie creators and everything as well to where you receive up to additional 10 to 15 digital books for free,
damn.
no charge. So you pledge to a digital tier or a physical tier, you're gonna get more rewards added onto your bundles.
Mm. Question. How do you feel like you when you start creating all these characters and better yet just the stories that you're able to create? You always feel like the need to add cultural elements to it.
Yeah, I tell folks you have to find your niche, right?
Mhm.
Especially when you're writing everything. I'm a big history buff. I love history.
Okay.
And so a lot of things and stuff, being in the military, and everything, I get a chance to just travel the world and embrace different cultures.
Hmm.
And I feel like for every story, everything that I write, my niche is to look at those different cultures, everything out there, the stories that have not been told or written or seen within this space. Then guess what? It's my job to tell it. It's my job to share those cultures, and everything with the world. And so you see a lot of times and stuff. I work heavily with different creators within the African market, right?
Yeah.
To really delve into their lore because their voices have not been heard or stories have not been heard or shared with the Western world. And so
It's true.
why not share those stories?
It's true. Now, speaking of that, because that's a good segue. The last time that we had a conversation was your first time back in the States in a long time, and you actually got a chance to go to a free black comic book day. I
Yes.
believe where was it? In San Diego?
San Diego. San Diego.
How was that?
It was a great eye-opening experience. For one, I got a chance to finally meet a lot of the creators and everything that I have spoken to online, but not really face to face, right, in
Yeah.
person. And so just be able to pick their minds, everything, their brains and stuff, and just be able to just talk, network, and collaborate and everything too, and be able to see some things that they're doing from a standpoint of comic conventions and stuff like that. Table set up, to see their books and be able to get signed copies, right? To me, that was just a different vibe. Something I really haven't experienced everything before. And so one creator thing I was really, really passionate he was there was David, writer of Heritage Demon Slayer.
Okay. Oh yeah, yeah. David Crownson.
Oh yeah. And so I got a chance to, not only get the books, everything, get all the first 6 issues signed and everything too, but also just get his take on from his creativity, his process, from distribution across the board. He's done a lot of things and stuff in this space that I haven't had tapped into yet. And,
Hmm.
and so, he gave me, from mentoring standpoint, this was my time for him to mentor me because I found myself mentoring a lot of people on from, within the house.
Hmm.
He had opportunity really to pour into me.
Yeah.
I really embraced him and everything, right? And so, that was the beauty of it, just being a part of that event, but to see other different creators, everything out there. It was no one was competing with no one, right?
Hmm.
Was how can we support each other? How's everyone doing? You know, and it was uplifting more so than anything else. And I told the event coordinator and everything that hey, look, this will be a staple for me every single year. I would definitely be back here, right? Uh, the biggest thing though was I got a chance to meet uh the actual coordinator for
Okay.
the center and to find out that she's from Africa and
Mm.
how much she has poured into this area with her roots and everything, and what she gives to the community and stuff, to me was just so profound. And this is why I said this was a blessing in disguise. So on the second day, I was able to move inside.
Okay.
They put me by the entrance door, right? And I like to call it the valley, the hall of the Orisha, because I was surrounded by them.
Hmm.
So you have my table, you have all of Magnus, everything with the Orishas and stuff right there. And behind me is all of the portraits, the paintings, the signs, the banners, you name it, everything, right? Of
Yeah.
all the Orisha in my
Mm.
back. And I'm sitting here like, and she came to me, she said, you can't leave. I'm packing up, right? She said, you
Yeah.
can't leave. I want you to meet someone. And it was her husband. And he said, you have to explain to him your story. I said, yes, ma'am. She said, no, no, yes, ma'am. You can call me auntie now. I'm your auntie now. I said, yes, auntie. And so I go to her husband, everything. This gentleman, it's like he this aura that he has around him, and everything. Right? He's a very important figure.
Hmm.
And I walk up to him, I hand him my book and everything. He's holding it. He said, speak. Yes, sir. I started speaking to him. I
Hmm.
said the why. I wrote Magnus. How I came out of grief from the passing of my mom and everything, and how I fell into depression. And Magnus was the way out of that state of depression. And
Right.
through that came something special, gift, everything of this story of family. And now I get a chance to share it with the world. Uh, and that story of my mom is her love life, her love let everything away. And so, me sharing that story and everything with him, he said, and that's it. That's why this book is special. And it's an honor for me to have this book in my hand, hold it, and be able to take a picture with you with this book. And I was like, man, this is okay. I did not expect this right here.
Hmm.
Uh, and to me, that was the moment I knew I belong in this space, truthfully and really. And so having the opportunity to be able to experience that and also then to be able to share and be a part of it and everything and say, hey, I did this. Now the skies, there's no limit, you know.
Yeah.
I'm out there and I'm going to definitely, you're going to see me in more conventions and everything. Matter of fact, we just actually landed Las Vegas Amazing Con in June.
Okay.
So we'll be out there. And so that's another staple and everything added to our natural built and everything here. And then we also be out in the valley here in Arizona, everything every third Saturday of every single month at another event as well, showcasing our books and stuff to the community.
Oh, hey man, that's a brilliant story. That's an amazing story. It is, as a matter of fact, when I remember when you started, and I remember the recommendation of what basically Tyler had told you about your books and the honest conversations that you basically had. The fact that you still have the ability to, to utilize that and have honest conversations with other upcoming creators. It's the passing of the information. The knowledge is just continuing to be passed. And the fact that you still even have the fact to even just put your book in people's hands that have never read your books
Yeah,
and they can
that
speak to you that way. That's
that
amazing.
was like I said at that event. A gentleman came in and he saw my books on my table and everything. And he said, "Look, man, look, I spent so much money. Uh, I tell you what, I'm gonna get issue one of Magnus. Great, cool. Signed up for him, everything. Gave it to him. Took a picture and everything with him. And I told him, I said, you have to either email me or message me on my social media and everything. Let me know what you think of Magnus." The next day, he came back in the same clothing. He didn't even change clothes. And he said, "Look here, man. I read Magnus, and it was the best thing I read out of everything I bought.
Hmm.
I need to get the trade." I had the hardcover trades and everything with me there.
Okay.
He came back and got the trade and everything. He said, "I'm going to be following you. I'm going to be following you." I said, "Yes, sir. Yes, sir." And so to me, like I say, at the end of the day, uh, when we're going through trying to get backers, trying to do things and stuff just through an online method,
Yeah.
really, from a comic standpoint, you need to get out there in the community to share your stories with the world. And like I say, let people see you. And that's one of the things, from what's his name? From Dark Storm. Uh I got his book, matter of fact. I think it's Kevin.
Hmm.
Kevin from Dark Storm, his book and everything, right? He came and got a copy of Magnus. And he said, "Man, where have you been? I haven't seen you out here, man. You need to get here more."
Hmm.
And I was like, "Man, you know what? You're right. I do need to get here more. This is my first event." I told myself I've been in the military. I didn't get a chance to for the last 3 years and everything to really come back to the States and do all these events and stuff like that. Now I did go to a couple of events and attend everything just as a visitor overseas, but I didn't really get to live the land and learn a lot of things and stuff from other big wigs and stuff from coming convention standpoint. And so now with retirement on deck and everything, I feel like I have a lot more time on my hand.
That's what I'm
Uh,
saying, man. You look like you got that look of
I,
freedom in your eye.
I feel like I'm happy to continue to write.
Hmm.
I'm happy now to be able to share these stories and stuff that I've been, holding on to for so long with the world and everything now. And so, Kickstarter is just a platform
Yeah.
to continue to build a community and everything. But the way I'm going to build community going forward is going to be out there in the community.
Hmm.
And so with workshops, with kids, everything, with different nonprofits and stuff like that, sharing how to create a comic book and everything to with them, teaching those classes and stuff. That's gonna be my way forward.
Now, can I ask you when you first began before Magnus was even when it was just a thought, you frequented like some Facebook groups in order to like start building up comics, and you met a lot of people throughout that, even when you met Tyler. Do you still frequent those groups?
Yeah, so I know I often go to Black Comic Lords. They have like groups and everything as well on there.
Yep.
There are definitely a couple more indie groups and everything as well on Facebook. We have a private group and everything also on Instagram, through Blue Sky. So I'm still frequenting everything those groups and whatnot to make sure that I keep tabs and everything on them, but to share things that we're working on behind the scenes, right? And
Right.
I shared something this morning with some artwork that Bruno did for a spin-off series within the Magnus universe, right?
Yep.
Kind of Teen Titans and everything in a way. Some new characters and everything as well. And people was like, boom, they ate it up. Like, "Oh, what is this? Tell me it's real." I'm like, "Yes, it's real. It's real." And I promise you, one day this story will come forth and everything. We'll get on it again. But Bruno is a busy man. Understand something? Bruno got picked up from DC Comics,
Hmm.
you know, and Magnus was part of his portfolio, and they loved it, right? And so I knew I would have a hard time retaining, just keeping Bruno on these projects, and everything, right?
Yeah, because once you get in the hot seat, that's it, man.
And I hit him up, I hit him up today and everything. I say, Bruno, what you doing, man? He said, man, I'm busy. DC got me on two more books, two more projects. I'm like, man, I can't get you back. Like third time we ready to start on the project and everything, man. DC come and call. And I say, you know what, man? I can't knock it because you're doing great work out there. And trust me, at the end of the day, it was a pleasure working with him and to see his talent and see how much he's growing within his space and living his dreams.
Yeah,
A DC Comics artist and everything is huge.
that's excellent.
Nothing but
Now,
respect.
now, outside of just the artwork, you of course had the opportunity to dabble in animation, and you've
Oh
also
yeah.
been able to adding that. So you still, of course, have that relationship with spoof animation
Oh
in
yeah.
order to create these into either animated trailers or better yet, even a featured series.
Yeah. Something is coming. We're working on everything. We have to wait until the campaign is over to make sure the rewards and everything go through. And if it clears, we definitely have something in our deck of cards to where we will see another animated mini in a way to where we see Magnus for the first time, everything showcases powers against somebody else and everything, right? Different character. And so one of the things I love about any space is playing this playground and giving other creators everything opportunity to actually play this playground with me and everything too.
Yeah,
So with that tier, this person was able to get, utilize his his creative character. And then we're going to script a 3 to 4 page sequence
mm.
spoof to animate. And you'll be able to see those they're going toe to toe with each other.
Oh
So
man,
we like to call it sparring sessions, right? And
yeah,
that's what we're gonna do.
that's what's happening.
It's gonna be nice.
Frederick, it's always good to have you, sir.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, of course, the campaigns, I believe, got about like 20 days left, correct?
20 days left. We're roughly, I want to say, a little bit less than 60, 70 away from 5,000.
Yep.
Once we break that goal, we unlock another reward and everything for the $5,000 tier with stretch goal. And so 20 days ago, the campaign is already funded. But with every single pledge going forward, everything, right, you will help fast track production on issue number 6. And also future things we're working on, like, Frontline. I know a lot of people have seen that.
Hmm.
That one's going to be a dope campaign and everything as well, a dope comic and everything too. But your support within this space, everything, right, helps us get these books, everything out faster, quicker, so we're not waiting for those books, everything, year after year.
That's true. That's true. Man, excellent work. Can't wait for Frontline. I'm sure we're going to talk about that too.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
All right. So, of course, for everybody here at the Facts Project, Magnus Jakuta and Veve are both on Kickstarter right now as a combo package. Has about 20 days left. So, of course, go out there and get that. Thank you once again. Always good having you, sir. Look, I it's always amazing. Look, hey, I like this. I didn't even see the shirt. See, you had the Magnus Jakuta
Hey,
shirt and
it's,
everything.
it's on the Kickstarter.
It's on the Kickstarter, the exclusive, the TV
Go check it
character.
out.
I just saw it. Dang. All right. So for everybody here at the Facts Project, Frederick Little's Acre Comics, we are out.